everyone. I am just about to head out, and I thought I would come on here before I leave so that I am safe. And I got one of those dooflickies for my, I hope you can hear me here. I got one of those things for my phone so that I can like talk hands-free. Well, I've had them for a while, but now I've got really serious with it because when I'm in the car, I don't know about you, but when I'm in the car, things come to me. And so I wanted to make sure I have my earbuds, and I don't have my earbuds. I had everything but my earbuds. So I'm just gonna close up shop here, and I hope you guys can hear me, because if you can't hear me, then this is not gonna be very good. So, what do I mean by it only takes one? Well, the answer is, because, you know, does it only take one to do this as a business? A lot of people come into doTERRA and they're looking for business builders, and they're like, it only takes one. Well, they don't think that, but they're like, they get one person and they're so excited and they put all of their eggs in that basket, and then they're like, yes, this is awesome. Oh, there's my earbuds. Yay, I don't have to go home and find them. They don't have to go and you know, or they put all their eggs in one basket and they think, oh my goodness, this is all it takes. This person's gonna be a rock star. And oh, hi Nadia, you can hear? Great. So I'm gonna start moving now. But I'm not gonna be looking at you guys because I'm gonna be driving, but I will be talking. And so what I wanna say is that the reason why it only takes one is not because in order to succeed it only takes one, but in order to do this as a business, it takes people under you to really motivate you. So let me explain. When I first started doTERRA, I had no builders. I had one sharer, and that sharer did like lots of classes for me, which helped me hit Premier in the first month under her. Like, you know, you need 2,000, so I got 2,000 under her in the first month because she did classes. I had to drive though. I had to drive about an hour and a half. How long did it take me to get there? At least 45 minutes to an hour. I think it was about an hour there, an hour back. And she was so petrified of doing classes, but I didn't care because I was so desperate. Right? And so, but she would bring in people. I invited people as well to that home because she had a beautiful home. Not that you need a beautiful home to do this, but I didn't have any home. I had, if you remember, I had boards on. Oops, a call came in. That's weird. When a call comes in, it stops my live feed. That's crazy. Anyway, so I was really excited, and I did classes for her, and I had done classes for a few other people, but she was really the one who said, I want to do this as a business. But she didn't do any of classes of her own, which is fine, but guess what? It still made me excited. Now, a lot of you who have come here and are listening to this are sitting here without one builder. And it's discouraging. It's so discouraging. And you're sitting here going, Donna, I'm keeping on going because maybe I'm futuristic, or maybe I have positivity in my top 5, coupled with some consistency and discipline. And so I'm still doing it, but I'm not going anywhere. You know, it only takes one, you guys. There's some people who will quit after hitting silver because they don't have one builder. It only takes one. There's people who are sitting here and they are an elite, but they'll never stop trying because they do have that one builder who makes them see that this is possible. For me, that person was Holly. Holly Lowe came into this business not wanting to do it as a business, but what I helped her do, and I'm going to give you some tips on what to do when you find somebody, but what I helped her do was really just lean into her strengths. And it wasn't about me saying you have to do it my way. It wasn't about me saying you have to be on my team. I didn't even talk about my team. And there's two camps about that. One camp is, you know, I want to have community, and I want to make sure that my leaders are all together, and I want to do that. And I envy that. You know, I didn't do that in the beginning, and so Although I see it now happening with my frontline, I didn't see it happen then. It took a long time for my frontline to mesh together and to, not mesh together because they're all lovely, but like to start merging together and collaborating. But what I want to say is that it just takes that one person for you to invest into, and when you have that community, or when you have that one person, you can merge that community together, yes? Or when you have more than one, but if you only have one, there is no community. Let me just share with you the key to having this one person. Gala says hi from Ireland. Hello, Gala! I miss you. Hey from Philly Airport, Amanda. That's not as exciting as being in Ireland, but that's still fun that you're traveling. What we need to do with that one builder is invest into them. Why are they wanting to do this as a business? Forget about you. The more you forget about you and forget about your team and forget about your goals and forget about your ideals, the more they will come to this business. Why? Because they have somebody who's saying, I'm invested into you. I am about you. I am speaking into you. I am speaking into your strengths. I am speaking into what this promise is for you. The promise of doTERRA is real, but there's things that trip people up, and one is talking about yourself. If you talk about yourself, oh my goodness, guys, you're not going to get anywhere with that one builder, because you're just too busy talking about yourself and your team and you're this and you're that, and people are going to be like, you know, they want to own this for themselves. We are not their boss. Right? So we can't tell them what to do. It matters how we show up. If I was a boss, so let's put it this way. If I was a boss in a restaurant and I had employees, it didn't matter how I showed up. I could be a jerk one day and guess what? They're still going to show up. Why? Because they're getting paid. They know that if they don't show up, they don't get paid on that hourly wage. Yes? This business is so different. It's so different, you guys, and it's also so personal. So, you know, I talked a little bit about that before, where, you know, when you are an entrepreneur of a restaurant, and you hear me talk about a restaurant a lot, but if you're an entrepreneur of a restaurant, you go and you hire, like you put an ad out and you're looking for like chefs out there, or you're looking for, you know, strong baristas or bartenders, or like really strong ones. And you're going to pay them a good wage. They know that if they don't show up, they don't get paid. They will put up with a jerk boss because they know that when they show up, they will get paid every time. But you don't hire your family and friends typically, do you? Because typically your family and friends are not the experts in barista or whatever. You can train them, and so that can happen. And I see that happen with restaurants and family and whatever. But because you're not going out and putting an ad on a paper, you are not hiring people that you don't know. You're going out and you're talking to people that you do know, and it makes this business very, very personal. And so for a lot of these reasons, we get kind of tripped up, don't we? So, I mean, that's a side note. It only takes one, because when you have that Holly Low under you, right? And believe me, you guys, and I say this to you from the bottom of my heart, Holly Low was not the Holly Low you see today. Holly Low, she had always a lot, I'm talking a lot of beautiful traits in her that I saw in her that she didn't always necessarily see in herself. And this is great that I get to talk to you guys, by the way. Sometimes I'm talking to people who are next to me and I turn my head. I don't even have to turn my head to talk to you. You're like right here. I don't even have to look at you. This is so awesome. Anyways, Holly Low was amazing. She always has been. She always will be. She's even more like coming into her own, right? Because you know how Brad hates the word personal development. It's not about developing yourself, it's about discovering yourself, because you are already everything that you need and everything that you are, but we've been lied to. Yes, we've been lied to, and so we kind of just forget along the way. We believe the lies along the way that we aren't as great as we are. when Holly first started, you know, she was so like, I'm not going to do this as a business. So how many of you have that, right? How many of you have people saying, I don't want to do this as a business. I just want to buy from you. I just want to be a customer. Great. I did not pressure her one bit. I did not say to her, oh, but you would be great at this. In fact, I was so afraid of talking about the business still that I kind of was like a little bit sneaky about it. And I was just like, why don't you just do some classes to teach people? Because she did own a place where she had people come into the boutique that she owned, and she was a doula. And people were coming in for education classes as it was. And I'm like, why don't you just add essential oils to that, right? So we're already doing something that lights her up. We're already talking to her about something that already lights her up. We're not saying what lights you up should be doing 101 education classes. That doesn't light anybody up. What lights you up is what you're talking about within those 101 education classes. And if you don't have anything that lights you up, then do those 101 education classes and find something within it that lights you up so that you can show up with your whole heart and your whole passion. So when she was starting out, she was really loving talking about babies, and as you see her now, you know, babies, oil babies, and her team is nurtured. And, you know, she just went with it. And she was my very first builder. And she just started loving the classes and loving what the oils did for her family. You know, she had the story of her daughter and how her daughter was in the hospital multiple times, I believe it was multiple times, but she was in the hospital for respiratory issues. And I remember seeing like, oh my gosh, Johnny, how could you not say something? You know, and scared as I was, because I didn't want her to think that I just wanted to sell her something, it was not fair of me not to share this with her, because I knew that it worked. How selfish of me to let my fear get in the way of helping her daughter. And so I ended up sharing with her with all of the fear I had inside me, and I said, you know what, it's not my business how she judges me. If she judges me because she thinks I'm selling, that's on her, it's not on me. I loved her little girl, and I wanted to help her, and I loved Holly, and I wanted to help her as a mom. And so with all of the fear, I just put it aside and said, Donna, get over yourself and just get out there. And so I shared that with her, and within, I don't know if it was the same day, Holly could tell you, but same day or next day, Holly was like, Donna, for the first time, like, she's sleeping and she's not, I don't need to take her into the hospital, and I feel empowered. I feel like I can take my daughter's health into my own hands. I feel like I don't have to be afraid when she's got a cold, like, when do we have to take her in the hospital? Let's get ready to take her in the hospital. Can you see the power that had? So I had this person who was like, I need to share this, and she started sharing like crazy, and she was the first person who started teaching her own classes. Hi, Tisha. She was the first person who started teaching her own classes, and I started getting excited. And I didn't have another builder after that for months, right? And some of you are like, what do you mean months, Donna? It's been years, and we'll talk about that. But it was months for her, and I was just thinking, oh my goodness, like, you know, this is possible. And so do you see how it only takes one? It only takes one. So I've also seen people just get discouraged, and they're like, Donna, nothing's happening. It feels like it's all me. And I know the feeling that you have. I know that feeling of feeling alone, and nobody's doing it but you, and nobody's doing classes but you, and if you don't show up, nothing happens on your team. I know that feeling, and it's hard. It's very hard, but guess what? Any entrepreneur out there, every single one of them will say the same thing within the first couple of years. It is hard. If you don't show up, you don't get paid. You know how we talk about, we don't want to live like that anymore. We don't want to live like if you don't show up, you don't get paid, and then you join doTERRA and all you do is show up, because if you don't show up, you don't get paid. It's because we're an entrepreneur, and ask any entrepreneur out there, they'll tell you the same thing. It's not unique to doTERRA, it's unique to entrepreneurship. And so you're out there and you're feeling so alone, like there's nothing that you can do, but it only takes one. It only took one for me to say, okay, this is worth it. Because when I went to silver, I hit silver on my own without one builder doing one class. And there's some of you out there who's feeling the same thing. And then after that, it was Holly started doing her own classes, and it was no longer me doing all of the legs. It was her doing her leg, and I was working on these other two. And I remember feeling the freedom in that and the joy in that. on, you guys. Don't give up, because it only takes one. In the beginning, it is all you. In the beginning, you're wearing every single hat. You're wearing the planning hat, the invite hat, the preparation, the presenting hat. You're wearing the enrolling hat. You're wearing the supporting hat. Then you're wearing the recruiting hat. And then you're wearing the leadership hat, which is above and beyond pipes. And you're wearing all of these things, and you're like, when does it end? When is the promise, Donna? You guys promised. You said if you just hung on. And the answer is it only takes one. So how do you get that one? And the answer is in letting them be them. Letting them be true to doTERRA the way that they want to. Being true to them how it lights you up. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and Emerge came along in a time where people who had been doing this for a long time were just like, I don't have a niche market. I don't know what lights me up. I know what lights me up, and it's doTERRA. And they were having a problem with streamlining, having word vomiting on people, and they just needed something. And Emerge came along. And Emerge came along at a time where we were all just like, how do we do these classes well? Because people were having 2-hour classes here, 3-hour classes there, and nothing was happening. People still weren't buying. And so I'm like, I need a streamlined approach. And when I found Emerge and brought it to you guys, I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. And along that same time, I had a team come, and that team was like, we want to do what lights us up. We want to do what lights us up. And I said, yes. And then do this Emerge too, because when you do this Emerge, you're going to find what lights you up. And they wanted to do these 201 classes, and those 201 classes involved doTERRA, because if you're doing doTERRA, you want to kind of, mention it. Be kind of good idea to mention it if you want to do doTERRA. But I was focused so much on this Emerge that, along the way, some people got lost in it, and they're like, what about the 201 classes, Donna? And so I'm just going to tell you right now, this Emerge training is amazing for people who are just coming into doTERRA, who don't have a specialty. And a lot of people are coming in, they don't have a specialty. Their specialty is doTERRA. And I love it. And so what we want to do is we want to just give them the Emerge training manual, and we want to walk through them with that. At the same time, we don't want to walk through them with that with our goals in mind. We want to walk through them with that with their goals, or we want to walk them through that with their goals in mind. And let me just do a side note about goals. I hate goals. I wrote that the other day. I hate goals. So now I write down action lists. Tasha Smith talked to me about that, and I'm usually really good with my, if I have a 1-week goal, I'm really good with it. I'll do it because I know that Tasha's going to ask me about it, and I've paid her, so that helps me. But what about the rest of us who don't have somebody that you're paying for and nobody's asking you? In that case, you need to lean into your strengths, right? And so again, I talked about that with the updates that we're doing after the 1 week. So I put action list, and I tape something on my computer, and it's been amazing. It's really helpful. The day that I wrote down an action list, not only did I do my actions for the week, I did it the day of. The day that I put that on my computer and I taped it there, like a little post-it note, and then I added tape around it to just make sure it stays. What I was supposed to do is change it once I did those actions, and that's the part that I'm struggling with right now, is that I put it down there, but then I don't have the strength of consistency and discipline to change it. So I might get Brad to help me with that. Oh, Tasha Smith, I'm sorry. Anyways, so you can see, you guys, that this is amazing, and again, it only takes one. And Nadia, because I'm driving, I can only kind of see people, like I said, I can only glance because I want to be safe and make sure everybody around me is safe. So I see that there's a question, but I can't read it because I'm driving. So I could pull over right before I end this. I'm gonna pull over so that I can stop it, but I don't want to move around. I don't want to funk around with it. And no, I was not about to swear that right there, but that's funny because it sounds like I don't want to funk around in it. Monk around. So the person that's in front of you, you guys, that one person, invest into their why. Remind them of their why. Every time you talk talk to them. Remind them of why they're doing this. You know, if they get discouraged, remind them of their why, of their purpose in being in this earth. Remind them of their team. You know, it's not about your team, it's about their team. Even if you do create a community, it's not about your team, it's about their team. Remind them of how they, you know, like, can you see it? You know, just help them picture it. Help them picture the future. Can you see yourself with your husband staying at home with you? Your kids, you know, you get to do whatever your kids want with you, you know, and you get to travel the world together with your kids if they want. You get to put them in all the things that they've always wanted to be in, and you get to hire a driver to take them there. Yes, it's true. You know, I love the life that I get to lead, and I have so much to thank for Holly for being there to show up to me as that one person who not only did it herself, but she motivated her upline, which was me. And I'm so forever grateful to her, because she showed me that it was possible. She showed me that this was worth it. She showed me that this was a viable way to earn an income. It only takes one. So when you find somebody, here's the mistakes that we make. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. You want to keep going. You don't want to say, oh, this person wants to do it as a business. This is the one that Donna was talking about. No, because it doesn't just take one in the end. It takes, when I say it only takes one, it takes one for you to see the promise of this. That's what it takes one for. It takes one. If you've been sitting here for a couple of years and you don't have one builder, your job is to learn how to be a leader in order that these people will come and that these people will stay. So you need to find your pattern, yes? You need to find out, why am I not finding a builder and it's been 2 years? If that's you, it breaks my heart for you. You know, if you knew that all you needed to do was tweak one skill and you would be a millionaire in 5 years, would you not want to tweak that skill? Spend every moment of your day tweaking that skill. If you see the promise like I have in doTERRA, and you know that there's one pattern that keeps coming, do everything in your power to work on that. If it's not a strength of yours, to work on that, because we talk about like leaning into your strengths, not your weakness, then figure out a way to work with that weakness in order that that weakness can be less weak, right? So hiring somebody, cross-line support, you know, do strengths trader, bartering your strengths, right? Where you take somebody and I posted this on the Blue Presidential Summit or Diamond thing, and maybe they'll take it up on me or take me up on it, I don't know, but if you have a strength of discipline and consistency and you have somebody underneath you who's adaptable, yeah, and you don't know what to do with them, you don't know how to teach them, first of all, you send them here, but second of all, you find somebody on your team who has somebody who might need to be traded, right? And do it for a month. So I think that you really need to know how to do this as a leader, and a lot of us have never come into this leading people. So I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna pull over so that I can just stop it. But you know, guys, this is one thing that has been really, really powerful for a lot of people. I see people on the brink of just quitting, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I found a builder, and now I understand Donna. I understand doTERRA now. And a lot of them, that's all they needed, was just to find a builder. And so I hope that this spoke to you guys. I hope that this makes sense. There was some questions that I wanted to. I have someone on my front line who's been a placeholder, and she's ready to do the business. However, she wants to take things really slow and let it happen on its own organically. What can I say to that? So stumped. So she's a placeholder, now she's ready to do the business. However, she wants to take things slowly. That's a whole other conversation. I think I might save that for one whole video. Nadia, thank you for asking that. I love that question, because the difference, we're all like in this boat, right? Like, what do we do when somebody doesn't want to partner with us and there's this like lopsided partnership? The answer is to really find out their why they want to be slow, because a lot of people want to be slow because number one, they don't see the promise, number two, they don't have a strong enough why, and number three, they don't maybe have the support system in place, and so we maybe can become part of that support system. I've also heard that people have said, I want to do this slowly, and then they enroll more people than I do. And so I don't always believe what that means, so I just keep checking in with them every day, you know, and say, like, regardless of how slow you want to do it, sometimes it's that they don't want to do it at all, and that's what they mean by saying slow. Or they don't want to do it like in a way that we do it, like with the training manual, and that's why they say slow, because they're afraid. A lot of people are afraid. Most people who quit, they're just afraid, yes? Rachel, I'm concerned for your safety driving and doing a Facebook Live. It's okay, I talked about it in the beginning, so I guess for me with driving and doing Facebook Lives, I feel good about that, and I feel very safe because it's no different to me than having somebody next to me. My safety is making sure that before I start, I press all what I need to do when I'm not driving. So I'm not driving and then all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to do a Facebook Live. So I'm already just, the live is on before I drive. And then when I stop, I just pull over on the side of the road so that I can press stop. But talking, I mean, if you were sitting next to me, I'd be talking the exact same way. So, and if you're asking me questions, so don't you worry. So I hope that helps you guys, and I absolutely adore you. Don't give up. It only takes one. It only takes one, and I mean that, to make you see the promise. And with that one, if you knew that all it took to be a millionaire after that one was to help 6 people succeed on your front line, wouldn't you not do it? Doesn't that sound much easier when we put it that way? Your job is just to help 6 people succeed. That's it. That's all. And it may take time to get there. It may take 5 years, it may take 10 years. But if you knew that you would be a millionaire after 10 years and all you needed to do was this, then I think it's a pretty good investment, don't you? I love you guys. Take care. Bye.